Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann, and this is the award-winning Fan Show. I'd like to thank you all for joining me on this lovely September evening. That's right, it is already September, and it's been a while. It's been a while. I'm not going to sing for you right now, but I will tell you that it has indeed been a while since we've done our wrestling division special, and that's not on purpose. I mean, obviously, I was doing a bit of a staycation, some time off. I was still putting out my weekly BattleBots episodes because that season is happening right now. Wrestling, though, it's really 24/7, 365. There's not exactly what you would consider an off-season or a regular season. So you just kind of roll with what comes your way. We were doing some round tables before the Big Four, Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and SummerSlam. And then, of course, any time that we had the ability to get a great wrestling guest on the show, we took advantage of it. Well, those of you craving a great wrestling guest and an even better wrestling division special, I just got you a Snickers, because you're not you when you're hungry, craving for great fan show content. So get ready and bon appetit on this special that I've got for you. I gotta say, it kind of came out of nowhere, pun intended. The guest, no, it's not Randy Orton, but we do talk about him. The guest that I have is someone who, there was a video that was shared, oh geez, it's been probably about a year or so now, and it was of a spot they did in one of the wrestling events that actually happened up here in the Pacific Northwest that I was not able to attend. In fact, him and I have been in the same city, I think, on 3 different occasions, and I have not been able to go to one of his events because I've been at an event for myself. You know, I was there with a purpose in that city. But the the video got shared, and it was a little out there, a little strange, and I remember commenting on it and be like, wow, if I was doing commentary, I honestly do not know what I would say in this moment. So some of you know what I'm talking about when you hear who it is that I'm speaking with today, and others of you, once the interview is over, may go and look it up. But this episode, I want to say, is not for the faint of heart, but really it's for all wrestling fans, because we take a journey back to how this individual got where they are today. We talk about the struggles that a lot of guys and girls, a lot of men and women face getting to where they want to be and where they are in the wrestling industry, and just the way that that life can be and how funny it is. It really is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, but it's a fantastic conversation, and I mean that. There are certain interviews I've had where I'm just like, this is pretty good interview. I'll take it. This is a great interview. I really was thoroughly entertained the entire time that I spoke with him, and so much so that we chewed up 30 minutes easy. And so to not ramble on and run on for forever and a half, I decided that we're going to make this a series. How many parts? I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you and welcome your ears to the listening pleasure that is the Outlandish Chronicles Part 1, featuring Zicky Dice. And some of you know him, some of you don't, and if you don't, you're about to, and if you think you know him, you're about to know a lot more. I had no idea that he had this kind of background, that he had done this much, that his life had taken this many turns, but it really was something to talk with him, and I cannot wait to see him live in Spokane in a couple of months. And then, of course, just to hear his story was so eye-opening, and it really is a feel-good story so far, because even if you're not where you thought you were going to be or where you think you want to be, you can still, as they say, live your best life. So, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy my one-on-one with the Outlandish Zicky Dice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for a wrestling division special. And, of course, such legends and great names have graced our presence here on the F.A.N show, including Mick Foley, Charlotte Flair, Peter Avalon, and now I present to you the greatest mid-car wrestler in history, the outlandish one, Zicky Dice. Welcome, Mr. Dice. How are you?
Doing well, man. Thank you. Let me start off by thanking you for having me on the show. Some great names. I got to live up to. I feel like I have some big shoes to fill. You didn't tell me this beforehand.
I know. I like to keep things lively and fresh here and pull a few rabbits out of the hat. But hey,
I see what you did there.
I'm a huge wrestling fan, if you couldn't tell, and I love the independent scene, and of course what AEW is doing. And Pete, he was on one of my panels last year. We were doing previews before the big four of WWE, like Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble and stuff. And he's a real treat himself, and he is the librarian now, which is interesting.
Yes, man. Peter is great. I love Peter. It's been nice. Since I moved back to California from training in Chicago, I mean, we'll get into all that, but Peter was one of the first few dudes that I met since I came back to California as being California native, but now as a professional wrestler. He was one of the few dudes I met down at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And just I drove down and trained with him a few times, and just watching Peter grow over the last few years, man, it's just been inspiring and amazing at the same time. And he deserves all the success coming his way. So excited to watch that unfold.
Yeah, I believe when I had him on the show the first time, it was right after his squash match in a tag team against the Bludgeon Brothers. And
yeah. I do recall.
I introduced him, and I said, you may have remembered him from SmackDown Live just a month ago, but then again, blink and you would have missed it. And he's like, yeah, it's very true. It was a quick match.
Yeah, funny. That is funny.
So tell me about yourself.
Where to start? My story, I'm going to tell you this, is one of a kind. There is nobody out there like Outlandish Zicky Dice or Nick Zappo for that fact. So I guess we can just dive right in. I guess I'll just give it, I don't know. We'll just hit it hard. I grew up on the Central Coast of California. Grew up wrestling. Me and my little brother did freestyle and Greco-Roman wrestling growing up. From about the ages 4 to 14. I quit wrestling after my sophomore year in high school. My dad had passed away in a drunk driving car accident, and he was the one that got me into wrestling. And so I just kind of stopped giving a shit about the world, honestly. I became very numb to a lot of things, and I started playing music. I quit wrestling and started playing music and in bands. And I always wondered what would have happened, because I think my sophomore year, I lost one match. Going into it, I'm a freestyle national champion for AAU, national champion in Greco-Roman wrestling, second place in national champion in Sambo, and second place in freestyle in nationals. I was pretty damn good, not to toot my own horn, but I never followed through with that. I took the route of music, So I started off bands, and then I created the superpower band of all these dudes from the area, and we called ourselves Heart to Heart, and Heart to Heart took off. We did Warped Tour. We've been on the road with 4 Year Strong and Stick to Your Guns and Comeback Kid and Story So Far, and we've done a lot of cool shit. And it was on that tour that I was hanging out with the tour manager of 4 Year Strong. His name's John James Ryan Jr. Great dude. Shout out to him. And we were in Nashville, and I was acting kind of heelish on stage. People were into the band, and they were booing us and and they were into it. And, they were working with. I was being a complete asshole on stage, and we were opening up this tour. And he comes up to me after the set, and he's like, "I need to talk to you after the show." And I was like, shit. I thought we would be – because, we busted our ass. I mean, it's very similar to, wrestling, what I'm doing now. You bust your ass, you play these little bars and barns and churches and all this shit so you can get to, the big stage, and open up on these tours. And here we are finally, in the spotlight and opening band of this tour. And just, I don't know, I thought we pissed someone off. And he pulled me aside, and he's like, I think you need to become a professional wrestler. And I was like, excuse me? He's like, I know that you love professional wrestling. My older brother, I'll rewind real quick, got me into professional wrestling. He's in his 40s now. So my early memories are like Coco Beware, Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, and stuff like that. And that's a lot who I resemble my character off, based it off some of those cats. So I was like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, I think you need to hit up Seth Rollins and go and train at his school. So Seth was a fan of like the genre of bands that we played and toured with. I don't know if he was of our band or not, but I sent him some shit, and he definitely knew who I was. So I sent him a text, and I said, I want you to train me. And he said, this is exactly word for word, he said, ha, 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 ha. Are you serious? And I said, I'm dead serious. I plan to be better than you are. And he said, I'll see you May 1st. So I packed up my shit, and I moved from the central coast of California to Moline, Illinois. Never been there and didn't know a damn thing about it, nothing. Just picked an apartment and moved in. And I started training. That was, I think, 4 years ago. I just hit my 4-year mark. And what was supposed to be a 3-month trip ended up being 3 years out there in the Midwest. And that's where I started my wrestling training and career. I went to the Black and Brave Wrestling Academy, and I was like, he has the title now, but at the time I was one of 12 to be trained by a current WWE champion. You know how cool that is to say? Like, there's past champions that have like, but the dude had the damn belt. You know what I'm saying? And I was at WrestleMania that was here in San Francisco when he cashed in and won the title. And I watched him win the title. I'm sitting there in the event. I just got these chills because it was like, in 2 weeks' time, I'm moving to get trained by what I thought, in my personal opinion, and we can probably argue this, the best in the damn world. I was breaking into the business a little late, so I wanted to be trained by the best. I remember there was this clown, I won't say his name, in the area where I lived, and he wanted to train me. He said, do you really think that getting trained by a big name like that is going to help your career? And I said, 100%. So, yeah, I won't say that Carney's name, but so I moved out and I did the damn thing. And, Rollins even told me, and he did an interview. I'll send you the link. Maybe we can post it for AP Magazine. It says Pop Punker to Professional Wrestler. And there was a lot of times where I thought he didn't like me there, or I got these vibes, but I realized after that he didn't think that I was going to do it. He thought that I was coming in from the band and having like a little bit of starting from that shit, that I would just like breeze through this and not take it serious. But I busted my ass. And that led to him. I just hit my 4 years, and last week he tweeted about me, which was insane. I didn't ask him for that. I released a new video at ZickyDice.com, which everyone can check out. And he tweeted it, and he said, you can't deny it. You got to check this kid out. He's hustling. And when I say there's no one like Zicky Dice, brother, I'm telling you, there is no one like me. I know that I'm made to do this. I'm slowly killing it and making waves finally in the indie scene and getting some buzz, but I've got tricks up my sleeve to keep this momentum going, and there's no plans of slowing down now.
That's so awesome, man. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of your history. So I got to say, first and foremost, the whole punk rocker to pro wrestler thing is awesome. But I guarantee I have probably seen you somewhere on one of those tours, because my first big festival was Warped Tour 2005, and that is my groove, man. Like that, those are my bands. You're listening.
My first one was 2002, man.
You're like listing all these 15. Bands that I've listened to growing up, and I'm just like, dude, like all these guys.
Yeah, man. I actually went out to the last Warped Tour about a month ago. It was a great time. Saw a lot of old friends, and I miss it. We actually just finished up a new record. I can't say anything about it, although it is completely finished. We have a name, music videos. We're taking pictures next week, so Heart to Heart will be releasing some new stuff. Since the first time I took a little hiatus to become a wrestler from one side of the carnival to the other, as I like to call it. But yeah, new music coming soon, man. I don't know if any touring's going to happen from that, but yeah. I'm really focused on Zicky Dice at the moment. I moved back to California. Before I moved, I went to the Ring of Honor dojo and did a tryout and 2-day seminar there. I came back. I went to the New Japan dojo in LA twice, and I've actually been in the ring with Okada and took some training from him and while he was champion. So if you want to talk about Zicky Dice's resume, let's go ahead and break this down. I went from being one of 12 to being trained by a current WWE champion. Let's go ahead and add one of, I think it was 12 more to be trained by Okada with the title. So that means I've been trained by two top guys holding the two biggest titles in the damn world. So that makes me one of a flipping kind.
Yeah, and I think your resume does speak volumes, and obviously the people that I know you have spoken highly about you as well. But, here, fill in this gap for me, because a lot of the guys I know that take things very seriously have a hard time making that transition from actual amateur wrestling, like you do in middle school, high school, college, NCAA, to pro wrestling, because
absolutely,
they feel like
dude.
it's
I had
insulting.
an issue as well. I had, when I went to training, there was a night specifically I remember in my head. My buddy Chris, we're going over moves, and I'm taught to slam the shit out of somebody, and you have to retrain your brain to work together, if that makes sense. Like, I learned this one language, and then all of a sudden you got to learn a different dialect. It's, or maybe a different language, you can even say. So it took some work, and I try and there was a time where I would, incorporate some of that wrestling into my matches. I don't so much anymore, and I should, but yeah, it was definitely tough getting used to, and then adding the character into that was tough getting started. I've always been Zicky Dice since I debuted, but it wasn't always Outlandish Zicky Dice. And then when I came with Outlandish Zicky Dice, I'm still figuring out what the hell I'm doing as I'm going. So now just riding the wave. I've kind of dug myself in deep here now.
Because I remember when Kurt Angle took off, and that was the same time that Brock Lesnar was really taking off, and people were like, well, yeah, it's, obviously they were actual wrestlers before this. And I was like, yeah, but it's different, So what was the hardest part for
totally.
you?
Totally. I mean, there's some shit that will transfer over, but dude, no, it's different. I mean, it's different. You can train and do sprints as much as you want, but still there's nothing like running the ropes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's different, dude. You just gotta go in with an open mind and forget what you know, and listen, and pay attention, because, like I said, you got to retrain your brain here.
So, what was the hardest transition for you? What did you have to retrain your brain that took you the longest time to get down?
Not to shoot slam someone, not to really fucking slam somebody. I legit hurt my friend Chris that night, and Rollins told me to go outside and take a break because he saw me getting frustrated, and so I did, and I came back in the next day and started nailing it. I just lined up, and I didn't want to give any excuses, but it's dude, I was taught one thing for 12, 13 years, and then you come in here and tell me not to slam the shit out of the dude,
So did Rollins, when he was training you, and he obviously knew your background and where you came from, what was his reaction to it? Did he think that you would get it, or was he this is going to be harder than you think?
No, I did get compliments on my bumps right off the bat. I did do a month of a few classes. I don't even want to call it training locally. There was no one there. I worked with a few of the other local wrestlers, and I just basically learned how to bump and run the ropes, a few basics. Before going in, I did get complimented on my bump right away, and they saw that I was picking up quick. So that was it. As long as I paid attention and busted my ass, I pretty much, got through it. Black and Brave was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And that goes from the training, because on top of that, he wants you to do CrossFit during the week. Rollins is, CrossFit Jesus, so he's all about that. I mean, it's mandatory, straight up. It's mandatory. If you're taking the class, you got to hit CrossFit. And there's a lot of similar movements in the ring and stuff like that. And then, on top of that, moving across the country, I didn't know anyone. I was just out there by myself, so you have that going on. And then, now they have a Black and Brave facility. We were running out of QC CrossFit, which means Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, we had to do our CrossFit and then set up the ring, do our whole 4-hour training, then break down the ring every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The ring was never left up. And people would quit training, and you'd be like, God damn it, don't quit, because that's one less pair of hands on the ring after we're all dead. Dude, there was one class that was 2 people. There was one class that was 4 people. And we didn't fucking help them set up the ring. We had to do all that shit on our own, So it's once you it was tough, man. It was real tough. And I had to just basically learn. I do joke around a lot, and I had to learn to chill that out and just really take it serious. I really wanted to make something out of this. And I'll be honest with you, brother, there's a lot of people that go to Black and Brave and they just want to go and train and hang out with Seth Rollins. there's only a few guys that are actually really pushing and doing this. Even from my classes, there's me and just two other people that I know that are wrestling, and and others I don't even know. People that came through, I thought, wow, this guy's got a good look, like he might be something. And then oh, I'm good. We're just training. Take care. You know. We had someone in our class, awesome dude. He wanted to be a writer for wrestling, so he came in and took the class, and that was cool. I respect that, you know what I mean? So to get like that kind of perspective. But if you're going, if I knew that if I was moving and putting this money together, that I was going to make something of myself. I wanted to be a professional wrestler. I'm telling you, dude, I've seen people pay in full $3,500 and quit night one, dude. No refunds. Wow. Right there. I'm serious. I'm serious. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it. And then you got moms calling the next day trying to get a refund, but it's like, dude, this is how it is. The night one, first night, there's a conditioning test that is insane, dude. Insane. And they want to break you, and that's what they want you to quit. Wow. Yeah, man. And I've seen it, dude. There's this dude that came through. His name was Green Shoes. My man had brand new gym shoes, dude. And he was sent home, dude, like within 40 minutes of being there, and that's it. That's how it goes.
So it's not just you can quit. Like they'll send you home and still no refund. It's like this isn't.
No, they won't send you home. They won't send you home.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, my man pulled up a chair and started watching everyone work out and said that he was done. Like, and when you say you're done, it's like, yeah. That was one of my favorite nights, dude. Like, when the good old year in high school, like homie was sitting there and he was like slowing down, and Ron's like, "Are you tired?" He's all, "Yes." He's like, "All right, go ahead and pull up a chair and watch everyone work out." Which means don't pull up the chair, keep working out. So what do you think he does? He grabs a chair, and Green Shoes is all tired. He wants to take a little breather, and dude, Rollins lost it. I will never forget that shit. That's the funniest thing, probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen there. And like, he sat in the chair resting, and then he quit right there, and he went home.
Wow, man.
Like, sorry, this isn't for me, and you realize that. And I finished school, and I came in, and I thought, because I felt like I had a little bit of advantage because of knowing how, like, to reach out to promoters through wrestling, through music. And it only got me so far. And unfortunately, I felt like I had this little stupid ego right when I graduated that I deserved more, And as I was training, I was almost casted for Tough Enough, FYI.
Oh, wow.
They played my video on SmackDown, and I got the call. I had a few interviews with WWE, and then it came down to the USA Network, and that's when they chose over me. But the gal who worked at WWE said that I was her favorite of all the people submitted, and my story was great, and like this could have worked. So like I've had all these little things happen like in between. I've been to WWE twice. I've done extra work there. They don't use me because I stand out and look awesome, is what I was told. Last time I was there was it was tough, man. I'll be honest. I went and did what I did, and I got a standing ovation. And I'll be honest with you. I got a standing ovation after my tryout match last year, right? And I got a second one this year. So, and I was told, they come up to me like, "We never give anyone standing ovations. Like, you look like a WWE superstar, like yada, 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 yada." And it was hard for me to come back to my normal life. And like, I saw the goal, and like, I knew that I was there. I was in a pink suit, pink fanny pack. Michael Hayes came up to me. Michael Hayes told me not to steal his look, and I called him Dad. And he popped for that. Jeff Jarrett came up to me, loves my fanny pack, and I went and just did me. I was Outlandish Zicky Dice in the ring, and to get back to my normal life, it just makes me hungrier and keep grinding. And I'm telling you, like, someone just posted a review of my match last week. Like, there's no one like Zicky Dice in the scene. It's like, I keep hearing this and hearing this. It's like, and what? Like, I'm about to bust through all of these flipping doors. Like, the best advice I've gotten, Paul Heyman told this to my friend Keita Murray when we were there. He said, a no is a yes waiting to be a no is a yes waiting to be answered. Wow. And dude, and I roll with that. I mean, that's what I live by. And like, I just know, like, you hear this left and right, and I've got my merch game is unlike any other. Head on over to ZickyDice.com and check it out. Like, my merch game is unlike any other. I have so much tricks coming up my sleeve that, like, I can't slow down, you know? Yeah, I just got to keep grinding.
So you've got
it's fun. It's fun, though. Like, I learned to have fun in the meantime. There was a point in time about a year ago that I was thinking about stepping back and maybe, living real life. Because I did touring, with the band. And wrestling's been fun. But, maybe settling down and starting a family. And then I started having more fun with the character. And I was like, dude, nah, this is what I'm meant to be doing.
So you've gotten all this praise from WWE legends, the current title holder. You've been trained by 2 current title holders, and now you've got heat from someone in the industry.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Out of nowhere. What is going on
Out
with
of
this?
nowhere. I got the Viper, Randy Orton, talking trash about Outlandish Zicky Dice.
Like, I never know what's serious in the wrestling world when it comes to comments and social media, especially.
Well, I'll tell you what's serious. Him commenting that I'm a fucking disgrace, end quote, at 2:30 a.m. in the morning. Like, really. Like, my spot. Let me rewind, okay? I finally got into West Coast Pro up here in the Bay Area. It's taken me, in California, it's taken me a little bit to break into the Bay Area wrestling and NorCal wrestling. I'm not trained here, okay? I don't have friends here, all right? Like, there's spots that are taken. I just keep doing me and trying to break in and make my way in. So I finally get in. I made my All-Pro Wrestling debut, which is awesome, and I just made my West Coast Pro debut. And they got a stacked card, man. All these great guys on the indies. So we got guys that are going to flip. We got guys that are going to do cool shit. So we decided to do one 15-second little comedy spot, dude, a classic little spot. And it pissed off Randy Orton so bad that he had to judge my whole wrestling over a 15-second clip and say, what a fucking disgrace.
Wow.
And as you can see on my Instagram, I've just been running wild with it ever since because, dude, little did he know he was messing with the wrong indie cat. Like, they don't call me outlandish for nothing, dude.
So I remember a documentary on the Monday Night War when Bischoff said that he did that spot where he called out Vince McMahon. He's like, come on, Vinnie Mac, come over and punch me in the face. And he said after he did that, one of the execs came up to him and they said, he might actually do that. So when it comes to calling out Randy, are you worried that he's going to answer back and be like, all right, let's fight?
I'm ready. I would love, and if it comes down to that, I got to fight Randy Orton, dude. Like, have you seen the stuff I've been posting? He posted I'm a disgrace. Today I put a fake poop in my bag and pretended that Randy Orton pooped in my bag. Like, that dude's pooped in someone's bag before and wants to call me a disgrace. Like, give me a freaking break, Randy. And then Stone Cold commented, too. He's like, bah, God, that town had a family. At least he was having fun with it.
Exactly.
Christ almighty, Randy. You act like you've never done anything disgraceful in wrestling. And I've been posting shit every single day at Randy, and he still hasn't hit me up.
I think what's the most funny about all of this, and you kind of nailed it just a second ago, is the fact that if it was any other wrestler calling you a disgrace, it might be like, okay, I get it. You take yourself a little too seriously. But knowing what we know, for those of us that know, the Randy Orton antics of yesteryear and days past, it's like, he makes that
Christ
comment,
almighty,
and you go,
I know, dude.
And you go, really? Like, really?
Like, Viper, I'm a disgrace? Like, dude.
I have heard so much about what he's done in the past, and so for him to make that comment, it's just like, really? Like,
listen to me. I'm going to say it here live on the show, loud and clear so everyone can hear. I keep trying to kill the business, but it won't die. So don't worry. Wrestling will be just fine with Outlandish Zicky Dice. I guarantee you that.
On that note, real quick, sidebar here. How many times have you gotten confused for Joey Ryan?
I get a lot of people tweeting me that I should tag with Joey Ryan. People talk shit, call me Diet Joey Janela. But mostly, you want to know what I get more than anything, dude?
What?
Steve Carino.
Really?
Steve Carino. I get that all the time. Marty Jannetty actually thought that I was Jeff Jarrett at WrestleCon, which is pretty cool. He's like, hey, Jeff, come here. He's like, holy jeez, I thought you were Jeff until I saw your neck tattoos. I was like, oh, my God. So I told Carino when I saw him at WM.
Okay, so you got confused for Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, I got confused by Jeff Jarrett by Marty Jannetty, which was awesome. He's like, I thought that was Jeff the whole time until I saw your neck tattoos. I was like, holy shit. But Carino, I got the most. And I told him that WWE, he's like, I could see it. But I'm finally wrestling Joey Ryan, November 15th at Prestige Wrestling in Spokane, which is cool. Like, I remember going to PWG and watching before, like, I started training, and I always enjoyed Joey. And I do enjoy a little bit of comedy wrestling. I'm not going to lie. I don't feel like there's something for everyone out there, and I'm good at running my mouth and being a character. So I'm going to roll with that. And I feel like that's my strong suit. And that's a lot. I'm going to be honest right now. That's a lot of guys that don't have that. A lot of people don't have that natural charisma and just don't have it. They got some cool moves, but at the end of the day, let's be real.
So I got to tell you, a full confession after talking to you for almost 30 minutes here, and I mean this when I say it, and that is that, look, I've had a lot of favorite wrestlers, in my time as a fan, but you might have just jumped your way up to the number one spot, and here's why. Let me explain to you why. When I was in high school, me and my buddy wanted to go and train to become wrestlers. And then in college, I joined a band. And basically, my whole thought process when Fozzy started to blow up was I said, I want to be Chris Jericho famous because Chris Jericho gets to do whatever he wants because he's fucking Chris Jericho. And he can wrestle, he can sing, he can act, he can do all this because he's Chris Jericho. So I dropped out of college my first stint to join a band and do that route. So I was a drummer for a punk rock band, and I've always wanted to wrestle. And so the fact that, like, talking to you and hearing your backstory and history, it's just like you are what I could have been had a few different decisions in my past been made differently. Man. And I think that's awesome.
I do appreciate that very much. It's been very hard, man. I've missed weddings, birthdays, funerals, you name it, and it's like, it comes with it, dude, but it takes a special breed and a special person like be able to do this. And that's one thing I asked Rollins, like how many guys do you see that can make it that just can't take the travel? And he says all the time, and it's tough, but I'm willing to put in the hard work, and I know that I'm meant to do this. My biggest dream outside of this, I just filmed a documentary that's going to be coming out pretty soon. And my day job is I was working in a special ed classroom. And the last 13 years, I take care of adults with special needs. You name it, I've dealt with it. And that's been a huge passion of mine since elementary school. So I'm working on my master's in special education to have my own special ed classroom where I can like bring in, and I've also, thought about like public speaking. I've thought about doing that and sharing my story with others and try and motivate somebody else and let them know that you are in control. Like I've had a lot of fucked up shit happen to me. I had a shit childhood. That's a whole other podcast. But I took control, and it's a daily struggle, but like, this is what makes me happy. And this is what I feel like I'm made to do. And it sounds cliche, but you do only live once. And this is what I want to make of my life. I'm glad that I can do music again. I actually was tweeting Chris Jericho all morning. Fozzy's playing right up the street tonight. And I'm willing to release a new Heart to Heart song that's unheard on the podcast and talk, but he ignored me. And it's all good. I just keep trying to do what I'm doing, and eventually someone will listen.
And I feel you there, man. I really do. And, your story is awesome. You're definitely right. I think we're going to call this the Outlandish Chronicles Part 1, because I want to have you back definitely. For more, for sure. But to wrap this one up, first and foremost, do you feel like you're living your best life between the band and wrestling, even if it's not on a WWE, stage and in that ring? Like, is this...
Absolutely. You know what? Darby Allin asked me this question the other day. He said, has anyone from AEW hit you up? I don't know if you heard, but I bought a billboard outside of the Essence.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, and it said All Outlandish Zicky Dice, dropping my new website, and it looked like the All Out logo and shit. And I just keep, being outlandish. It's not just the name, I actually have to do this shit to live with the roll with the character. I don't know where the man and character split anymore. But Darby said, what happens if you don't get signed by any of these companies? Would you be happy? And I said 110% because I still have the awesome kids that I work with, and I can, change lives in one way or another. So, dude, I'm happy. Yes, I'm living my best life. I just hit the gym. I got the full day off, chilling with my dog, Ric Flair. Like, life is good. And it wasn't always like that. It's a constant struggle and daily work, but I work hard, and I'm happy. If I die tomorrow, yes, I'm completely happy with everything that I've accomplished.
So you and I have just missed each other a couple times. We were both in Des Moines, Iowa, oddly enough. I was there for a football game. You were there for an event. And then, of course, you were in the Pacific Northwest for another event. And I had plans. I forget what it was that weekend. But you said you're facing Joey Ryan what date?
Joey Ryan at Prestige Wrestling, November 15th in Spokane. I'm actually going to be up there that whole weekend. I got 5cc Wrestling on Sunday. In Oregon, Eugene, and then there's somewhere else that I am on Saturday. I'm sorry that I forgot. But I'm basically just flying in, and someone's driving me all through shows, so I'm in either way. So I guess check my Facebook and Instagram for all those updates on upcoming shows. Also, ZickyDice.com. Let's go ahead and give that a plug. Some pretty outlandish merchandise on there, and we're going to be adding contact and shows and everything. And I love interacting, so feel free. Anyone listening, reach out. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I got to get me a shirt. But look,
yeah.
When you are here in Spokane, which is where I live, that match against Joey Ryan is going to be something special. We're going to have you back on the show.
I love that.
And it's going to be live and in person, not this over-the-phone stuff. And I got to tell you, so I go to school at Full Sail right now for my sportscasting bachelor's degree. And
I love it.
Always wanted to do ring announcing, commentary. Might get a commentary opportunity for wrestling coming up in October. But if you need an advocate, if you will, if you need someone to give you the best damn ring entrance announcement ever in Spokane, you just let me know and I will be your guy.
Oh, dude, done. We'll do it. We'll do it now. Done. We'll pick you out an outlandish outfit, and we'll send whoever's in the ring out of there. Done. I was gonna say I love your voice just based off the intro on this podcast. Like, damn, he's good. And I got a niche for those kind of things. You got it. Done.
All right, man. We are going to have a great time in Spokane. So this is the Outlandish Chronicles Part 1. We're going to have Part 2 and To Infinity and Beyond. I don't even know how many parts, but this has been...
We'll keep going, man. The story's long. It gets dark and deep and interesting. I'd love to share it. Just whoever listen.
Yeah, well, then next time we'll find out just how he came up with the name Zicky Dice, because I'm sure there's got to be something there. But good luck with Randy Orton. I would love to see that play out.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted on good old Randall.
Of all the people, like, really, Randy? You? It had to be Randy. Had to be Randy.
Seth Rollins put me over last week. Randy Orton bears me this week.
Yeah, you'll be back on top in no time. So for those of you that are listening, please follow him on Instagram. It is a riot. Buy some of his merch. I'm probably going to go to his website right now and be like,
it's nice and simple. It's just at Zicky Dice on everything. ZICKYDICE. Boom.
Boom. That's awesome, man. Well, he is the best mid-card wrestler in history, the outlandish
Once upon a time, I got a montage coming out. I'm leaving the mid-card. I'm headed for the best in the universe.
Best in the universe. You heard it here, folks.
That's it.
But whether it's mid-card, top card, or in the universe.
Or opening the show, my personal favorite. Shoot, give me a dark match. I'm there.
He's still outlandish Zicky Dice. Thank you so much for your time, man. This has really been a pleasure here.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing you in Spokane, brother.
All right, man. You take care of yourself.
You too.
And one more big thank you to the outlandish Zicky Dice for being my special guest and for giving me something to talk about for the first Wrestling Division special in a while. But, man, what a story. As I mentioned, this is part 1. I don't know how many parts we're going to have of this, but he's clearly someone that I could talk to for a long time. We could probably have an episode where we get into his band touring days and some backstage shenanigans and just things like from Warped Tour and whatever. So it was funny. I mentioned that he, is now being added to the special guest list of people that I've had on the show as far as wrestling goes: Mick Foley, Charlotte Flair, Peter Avalon. But when this episode was done, when we finished the interview, I texted him. I said, "Oh, and by the way, you're also now officially a special guest on the same podcast that's interviewed Real Big Fish, Kevin Lyman, the founder of Warped Tour, and of course the frontman for MXPX, Mike Herrera." And he goes, "That's awesome." So clearly, there's a lot that him and I could talk about, probably everything from wrestling to pop culture, maybe even outdoors. But you have not heard the last of Zicky Dice here on the Fan Show. But that is it for this edition of it. So I do want to thank you all for tuning in. It's been a fantastic special to do. It was really an honor and a treat to have someone with such a great story be a guest here on the Fan Show. So it's not official unless it's Fan Show official, and we are officially out of here. Make sure you're subscribed or downloading the show in one way, shape, or form: iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Of course, we are recording on Spreaker.com. You can subscribe there as well. We have new episodes every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and you can check out the live portion of the show on Facebook, facebook.com/fanshowofficial. Twitter is @fanshowofficial, and the Instagram, where you can see the antics of Zicky Dice, is The Fan Show. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you and good night.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.